hearing aid down. I know you turn it up when there's a lot of interference, but anyway, just keep it down, all right? Look, we're keeping things very informal this afternoon, and Chris is going to say a few words, and then I'm going to be saying something, and then we've got a few other people that want to have a few words as well. So I'm not even going to carry on now. Chris, it's over to you.
Thanks,
Yeah.
man. Firstly, I think a little Yagi to steady myself. There's a big box down there, full of it. Okay. So guys, while it's a very sad occasion, I think I need to remind all of you, Rodney was a man who celebrated life and lives lived. He wasn't one to mourn people. So that in vain, I'll continue, guys. Rod was stabbed. He was shot. He was shot at. He was hijacked. He drove into a cow. He turned a boat over with Matthew in the Khan. He drove more than one vehicle off of the edge of more than one hill. But in the end, it was one of Keith Morgan's lamb chops that got him. Keith really. I tell you what then, it would have been a crying shame if a man like Rodney had been killed by anything other than his own lust for life and his utter enjoyment thereof. Yeah. Humor aside though, thank you all for being here. There are so many of you here and so many people who've sent us messages, calls from around the world. It's been, no, I can't hold it now. It's been incredible, it really has.
But you never said no.
Exactly. Truly guys, fires have been lit today and beers shall be drunk in remembrance of an absolute legend. Because if he wasn't famous, let me tell you, he was infamous. I don't know if Jeff Gardner's here today, but I tell you what, I'm short selling Robbie's on Monday morning. Most of you guys have known Rodney from Kenton, either from as far back as the fish shop or from this institution which him and Dot have built over the last 21 years. The truth is though, Rodney lived a massive life before arriving here some 37 years ago. He was 3 when his mother passed away, and he grew up in the bush of northern Rhodesia with his dad, traveling and camping until he was about 9. He then settled with family and friends until, as Rodney puts it, he was hauled back to South Africa to be schooled, something he thought was totally unnecessary. And while leaving the bush, I think is something that my father always regretted. The truth is, that's what ultimately led him back to this place. Family holidays with the Lees in Port Alfred. And this is where he and his wife Dot ultimately chose to settle and raise us.
Another one.
This is when you do Yagi.
Okay. Sip on that solo.
And I think, to be honest, that's something Stephen, Justine, and I will forever be grateful for. Oh, okay. Rod was then 10. Just hold on. I was only a half.
I'm rationing you.
Thank you. Rod was then 10 before he set foot in the classroom. And I tell you what, he absolutely bloody hated it. His final results from school, which was standard 8, read as follows. E, E, F, E, F, E. And so, he became a policeman. He's got more E's than Julius Malema. Dad then worked customs at Rand Airport for many years, and I think when he was there, he and his mates took it upon themselves to redistribute as much illicit, banned, confiscated material as they could lay their hands on. The only thing he kept to himself were the records, which we've still got today. The fact that Rod managed to get to 73 without being arrested amazes me. That's also a bloody lie. Rod was arrested a number of times. The fact is he was never charged. Rodney, as you know, had an amazing way with people, and he had a way of talking himself out of any problem, any situation. One year at the Bathurst show, Rod and his mates, after spending some time in the beer garden, noticed that the army buffle on display had been cleverly disabled by disconnecting the lead on the battery and putting the keys on the seat. Needless to say, they took a buffle for a joyride around Bathurst. Dad then enjoyed a free night's accommodation in the cells. His reasoning the next day, I think, was, well, you know, we were far too drunk to walk from the showgrounds to the pig. Rod's true passion was always the outdoors there, and dare I say it, the odd fishing trip. I think everyone in Kenton has known for the last 20 years. If Stanley's is closed, Rod's in the Transkei with his mates, fishing, eating oysters, eating crayfish, and enjoying himself. That is a tradition I hope to emulate myself, at least until one of Keith's lamb chops get to me as well. Honestly, though, guys, I think there's 100 more stories I could tell you about my dad, and probably 100 more that you could tell me about him. And I hope that one day you all do tell me those stories. He lived his life with no regard for the future. He enjoyed every day and he took every opportunity. He reveled in his friends' company. He was generous to a fault. He was as offensive as he could muster. And generally, he was as drunk as he could afford. If you would raise your glasses for me one last time, I'll toast my father. To Rodney. A husband, a father, and a grandfather. But most prodigiously of all, a friend. To Rod.
Cheers to Rod.
Oh, you're up. I'm taking the Jägermeister.
Yo, Chris.
Well done, Chris.
Hell of a thing to try and follow that. My God. Jeez. Rodney. I thought that, you know, when I originally spoke to Chris, that perhaps we'd start with a prayer. and I distinctly heard Rodney's voice uttering a well-known two-word phrase ending in off, followed by a unmentionable word for a part of the anatomy, and I decided that it wasn't a good idea. What a legend. You know, I've been looking at the social media in the last couple of days and seeing all the messages that have been coming through, and it's been quite amazing. One said, "Geez, we'll miss that cantankerous old bastard." Well, I thought to myself that is a bit harsh. I would have called him a bugger, not a bastard. But he Rod was an amazing guy, and everybody that met Rodney at some point has a story to tell. Some deemed it necessary to tell their story on TripAdvisor.
Those are the ones in November.
More often than not, though, people have carried those memories with them, and Rod was one of those unique people that if you met him, you never, ever forgot him. So much so that some people who'd never met Rod claimed that they had met him. And that they knew him quite well. And would come in the door here and say, "Elder, how's old Stanley going?" And Rod's reply would be, "Oh, he died a long time ago, I'm taking over from him." You know, as brash as he was, and I don't need to repeat, Chris, what you've already said, Rodney was never shy to tell you what he thought. He wasn't always right, I must say, but he was never shy to do so. And and knowing him from my side, my personal experience with Rod, there was a side to him that you didn't see, and that was the side of a man who was very empathetic to other people. I remember just after COVID hit and things started changing, and personally I had a few huge decisions to make, and I got a phone call from Rod saying, "Are you at home?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, light the fire, I'm on my way." And he arrived there with a couple of beers, a few steaks, and proceeded to sit down and listen. And he listened. And when he left that afternoon, which was quite late, and I could still think because he left, it was lockdown and we didn't have enough beer. I just thought, here's somebody who's just come to not necessarily give advice or anything like that, but just to have empathy with you. And what an amazing ability Rod had to do that. And it's something that that many of us experience with few people in our lives, and Rod was certainly one of those things. And I also have to say I have empathy with the person who made Rod. I think he was told to manufacture a mold, but he got the dimensions wrong. When he broke the mold open, he found that he had a short long. and then he looked at this and he said, "Chap, there's not enough place in the world for two of these." So he broke the mold. Thank goodness he did, because what we had and what we've all known is a wonderful, wonderful character who every single one of us have many stories to tell about. And I think that what we mustn't forget is that the one thing about Rod is that he couldn't have been the legend that he is if it wasn't for the support he had from, first of all, Dot. Dot. Dot was strong and is strong. Dot, I am telling you, made the legend and made the man. And also, one thing that Rod was always very quiet but very strong about, and that was his love for his family. He was very proud of all you guys and his grandchildren. And he never bragged, but he would talk very quietly and very slowly about his family, and he was very, very proud of them. And in fact, as I say, and I'll say it again, that Rod was Rod because of his family. I know that all of you, every single one here, has stories to share about Rodney, and I could start rolling them off, but I'm not going to do that, because we're all going to share them amongst everybody here today. And there are a few people that are going to share some stuff with us shortly, but could I ask you just to raise your glass and drink in celebration to the life and legacy of a legend. Cheers. Cheers.
There's also a big cooler box of Jaeger here. Please help yourselves.
But, Guy, where are you? Guy would like to share something with us, and if anybody else would like to tell some stories or anything like that in memory of Rod, please do. And if you don't feel like doing it now, let me know, and I'll organize for you to do it later. Okay. But otherwise, just share amongst yourselves. Thank you.
First a Jaeger. Oh, there we go. I love it. You can stay here.
My husband wrote a poem.
A Yagi though. No, it'll be the first one. A Yagi, Mom. Oh my goodness. Give me that one. Oh, the wheels are coming off here, folks.
My husband wrote a poem about Rodney, and he's asked me to read it. So this is how it goes. There is a pub not far from town where good friends come to quench a thirst. A happy place, without a frown, cascades of laughter fit to burst. Perched on high, lights up the dark. A dream come true for someone strong. In passing time has made its mark. That creative mind was Rodney Long. We knew him well. He knew us more. His arms around us in embrace. No task too great. No distant talk. Strong of word. Full of grace. We'll miss you, Rod. Things not the same. When every drink our lips to pass, we will forever know your name. Farewell, kind sir. Now raise your glass.
Thank you.
Yes. Look, just today is really a celebration of Rod's life. And everybody here was very much part of that. And everybody just enjoy themselves, enjoy their memories, and let them continue. And have a great, great afternoon.
Thank you. There's food everywhere, guys. There's Thai food from Yo, there's Danish food from Ida, there's stuff coming off the bra. Walk around, find it yourselves. We're not going to do it for you. There's beers in the bar.
And Yagis,
And there's a fucking big cooler box for you. If you leave it for me, I'm going to have to drink it all. So please help yourselves.
And I'm sure that will be going around and you will be required to partake. Cheers. Thank you.